Welcome, everyone, to Lingerie Lowdown, the podcast. I'm Jim Williams, your host. Now, over the coming weeks, months, and hopefully years, we're going to educate you, enlighten you, and hopefully entertain you as we do a deep dive each week into the multi-billion-dollar world of one of the fastest growing areas of the fashion industry. Yep, we are talking lingerie, and through Lingerie Lowdown, the website, their YouTube channel, you've seen the women and men who review the many items that fall into the lingerie category. Now, on the podcast, we're going to get to know those presenters who come from all corners of the globe and are very diverse and a very inclusive group. They are models who represent all body types and give honest reviews of the items that they showcase. Plus, we are going to meet industry insiders who represent some of the top fashion houses in the lingerie industry, plus introduce you to some of the cutting-edge designers and smaller brands that are making names for themselves as being the next great brands, okay? So let's get started today. We have two guests. First off, the man who created Lingerie Lowdown, as well as one of the most delightful presenters. Let's start with the man behind the curtain, the creator of Lingerie Lowdown, Mr. Scott W. Scott. Welcome. Tell us why you launched the site.
Well, firstly, I just want to say thanks, Jim, for inviting me to have this chat with you. I'm really looking forward to the podcast that are coming up over the coming months. But to answer your question about where did Lingerie Lowdown come from? About 10 years ago now, I was working for an online lingerie retailer here in the UK. And something that struck me was that there's no standardization in sizing across the board of all the brands. A woman could purchase a bra in a 34B across 5-6 different brands, and every bra would fit differently because there's no standardization. And that sort of just stuck in my head and sort of stayed there for many, many years. And obviously, over the years, social media, YouTube has grown and grown and grown. And you name it, any product you buy online, you'll guarantee there'll be a channel on YouTube or Instagram promoting, doing sort of try-on hauls, unboxing of products. And I felt there was an opening here to be frank and honest and opinionated on lingerie. So that's really the seed that sort of struck the chord in me to sort of develop the brand as Lingerie Lowdown as it is today.
And then came the presenters. Now, I know that you've got a tremendous group of presenters, both men and women, from diverse backgrounds, from diverse body types, different ages, different ethnicities. Talk a little bit about your recruiting style in getting people to become presenters. I know you have a standard, and talk about getting the presenters and talk about the standard that you want to hold them to.
Well, the way I've gone about finding presenters is Instagram is a great medium to search. Obviously, I started following individuals, be they models or just men and women who were sort of showcasing products of this nature on their Instagram feeds. And I just, quite frankly, contacted them, sent them messages saying, this is an idea I've got in my head. This is what we want to do. Would you be interested in coming on board and working with us? And a few of them bit and took the bait, did some test reviews for us. They were fantastic. And I thought, this is going to run and run and run. And it sort of just started to snowball slowly from a small acorn when we launched in the spring of last year to where we are today with over 50 presenters across the globe. And to me, that was the real key, was the diversity. I've seen many channels where you have one or two presenters or a single individual, but the world is made up of multiple different people, different ages, different genders, different sizes, large or small busted, tall or short, all these different varieties. And I don't think there was anywhere offering sort of a one-stop shop where you could go and see someone who was similar to you. They may have been a similar body shape to you, a similar size, similar age, or same gender, and get honest and opinionated views of products you wanted to purchase.
Now, one of the other things about the presenters, and it's, I think, one of the reasons we've developed the podcast is because two things. One, they're incredibly passionate about lingerie. And number two, they're also incredibly honest about their reviews. There's no sugarcoating it if they don't like something. And conversely, if they do like something, they're very enthusiastic about it.
That's what I've loved about. I've been very, very lucky, and everyone who's come on board and works with me shares that same sort of ethos of impartiality and honesty. We take the view that if something breaks, the camera doesn't stop. We keep filming. Because that honesty is our bread and butter. That's what makes us so unique. We don't class ourselves as product influencers or social influencers, because if we do receive products, and interesting enough, as we progressed, more and more brands are seeing the benefits of working with us and are approaching us to provide us with products, we will still be honest. If we don't like it, we'll say we don't like it. If it doesn't fit properly based on their sizing, we'll say so. You might get some presenters where we've given them something, try to push them a little bit further than what they would normally wear and be comfortable with, and they haven't actually liked it for themselves. But in the honesty of the review, they might be actually saying, look, this isn't for me, but if this is your style of thing, this is a great product, this is a great brand.
Well, Scott, one of the other things that has been impressive is the fact that these brands, and now that they want to work with you, understand that coming to Lingerie Lowdown, and again, full marks to the presenters and to you and the brand, is that these new companies and some of the more established companies are using you guys as a test market for their products. I mean, they're not afraid if you say, if one of the presenters says that they're not keen on something that you gave them, they can take that and go back and go, okay, we can adjust this to make it better. So if you become a bit of a test market for that, and again, that's, I guess, why so many brands are headed in your direction.
Yeah, a really good example of this, what you just talked about, was a couple of months ago, Sophia, one of our presenters, one of our longest running presenters now, she was there from the very beginning. She did a review of a lingerie subscription box. It was a company in the UK who've just recently launched, and they package products together and you subscribe to them and you get a sort of surprise. You gift yourself, in a way, a monthly surprise. So they sent us some samples. We sent them on to Sophia, who did a blind test. So she had no idea what was inside the box when it arrived. She loved the products. Couldn't rave about them enough. They fitted her perfectly. They fitted her style. She loved them. But she was quite critical on the outer packaging. And we tentatively went back to the company and said, look, Sophia's done a fantastic review of the products. Not too keen on your packaging. We're still going to publish this. And they said to us, fine, we understand. We're a new company. We're starting to grow. And the feedback Sophia's given us has been fantastic. We'll use that to progress the style and the quality of our packaging moving forward. So we are offering a service, not just to consumers. We are offering a service, especially to some of the small startups and some of the independent designer labels, to sort of get genuine opinion of their products.
Scott, there's so many people out there who want to share that passion with about lingerie that you have. And I know they may very well want to be presenters. They don't have to be supermodels to do it. They don't have to have a specific body type to do it. They don't have to have a specific ethnicity to do it. Anybody on the planet can at least try to become a model for your wonderful website. Why don't you tell us how easy it is to get in touch with you on Instagram and through, of course, your website, and a little bit of the process that you look at when you're looking at new models.
Obviously, Jim, as you say, that people can contact us via Instagram. If they just search for Lingerie Lowdown, they'll find us, start to follow us, and then send us a DM. Alternatively, obviously, we've got our website at www.lingerieLowdown.com. Come on there. We have a contact form. You can send us an email through there. And what are we looking for? I'll be honest with you. We are not looking for supermodels. We are looking for genuine people, men and women, who love to wear underwear and lingerie. And it's really the essence of our presenters, what makes our presenters so good, is they are passionate about this topic. They love what they do. They love working with us, and they love to give their informed, views and opinions on the products we give them. They might have a product they don't like, but it may not suit them personally, but they will still be reviewing it with the view of other people who are looking in and saying, look, this isn't for me, but it's a great brand, it's a great product, it might suit you. One of the things, because we have a breadth of presenters, like you mentioned again, of all diversities of body shapes and ethnicity, I can't say that word.
That's okay, ethnicity, I'll say it for you. Ethnicity, ladies and gentlemen, not to worry. Go ahead, Scott, keep on going, you're doing fine.
So we got a wide variety of people and different backgrounds. For example, one of the areas that we like to review, and it's I wouldn't call it a taboo subject, but it's the BDSM community. We are quite frank and quite open and happy to review products that have a very strong bondage or kink influence. And we have presenters who are openly active in that community and not afraid so. So they are very comfortable in their body. They're very comfortable talking about these products, and we show the products how they should be worn.
And I think the key to that, which has been an interesting part, again, is there's no such thing as rules when it comes to lingerie. There's no such thing as the perfect body. There's no such thing as the perfect type or age or whatever. Everybody takes this. And there's one last thing that I think that I want you to expound upon from your passion aspect, and that is the empowering. It's funny, many of the presenters say that the lingerie they wear empower them. What does that mean?
I suppose a lot of people, when you think of the brands that we work with and we showcase, lingerie by its very nature can be seen by many as a very sexy thing. And it's not all about, in fact, it's not about the people looking at the person wearing it. It's actually the feelings that the wearer gets. And again, those members of our website will see time and time again, a lot of our presenters talk about the empowerment they get. We have a Canadian presenter, Anna Serenity, and she recently reviewed a product, a very sexy looking bra. And she said, I will wear this under my clothes. No one will ever see it, but I will know how sexy I feel. And that's, I think, a really, really strong message, is that these products aren't all about show and tell to the world. It's about wearing something that feels good against you, makes you feel good. So when you are going out for a party, going to the office, whether you're male or female, you can feel good about yourself because it's all about what you're wearing underneath.
Scott, I thank you very much for joining us today. I look forward to having you back on the podcast many times over the next months. And I know that everybody's going to want to take a chance to go out and check out Lingerie Lowdown, the website, where these presenters who you'll be hearing on the podcast are actually giving the reviews. So, Scott, enjoyed it, and look forward to our next visit.
Thanks again, Jim. Just finally, just want to say to all your listeners that we're really looking forward to bringing more of our presenters to the podcast over the coming months. And also, we're going to start talking to some of the brands in the industry.
Thanks very much to Scott. We'll be back with Mina Lee, one of the outstanding presenters from Lingerie Lowdown, right after this from BMW.
Life is about making decisions. At BMW I, we decided it was time to reinvent the car from the ground up, making sure we were open for truly innovative ideas. We decided that the car we wanted must be electric, and it should be made of extremely light and super strong carbon fiber. And finally, we decided to make it more intelligent and added our promise of incomparable driving pleasure. We made all these decisions to offer you a choice. The all-electric BMW i3.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to this edition of Lingerie Lowdown. I'm Jim Williams, your host, and joining me is one of the most delightful of the presenters at Lingerie Lowdown, Mina Lee. She joins us from California. You're a California girl, huh, Mina?
I grew up in California, kind of by Yosemite, in a very rural little town. Actually, got its first stoplight the year I graduated from high school. So a very small town. And but I ended up in the San Francisco Bay Area, which is where I call home now. And it's really beautiful. I love living in California. It's got a little bit of almost everything.
Absolutely. It's beautiful up in that part of the country, the wine country of California.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful, wonderful place. Let's talk a little bit about what got you interested in being involved with Lingerie Lowdown.
Yeah, it actually, I was very lucky. It happened really easily. And on my part, though I did have to put a little bit of effort into it, I was kind of recruited. And so it's a great way to start something when somebody approaches you and says, do you want to be involved, as opposed to having to chase them. So I had started a lingerie Instagram account. I believe I started it in late 2016. And Kaylee Kay, who was a founding member of Lingerie Lowdown, had followed me. And I believe I actually followed her as well on Instagram. And she just reached out to me and kind of told me a little bit about the project and asked if I would be interested in sending a little test video over. And previously to being involved in Instagram really heavily, I actually streamed on Twitch, which is a video game streaming service.
Yes.
And so I had a lot of video equipment already, a webcam, etc. And I was used to being on a cam. And so it didn't really frighten me to do a test video. I figured, hey, it's going to take me, 5-10 minutes to do a little video. If they don't like it, no big deal. Because it's, I have all the equipment. It's not like I have to invest in anything. And so I just did a short lingerie review and introduction to myself and sent it over. And then they said, hey, this is great. We would love for you to be a part of Lingerie Lowdown. And so that's kind of how I was introduced and started reviewing for them.
From a standpoint of lingerie and getting into that aspect, is it something that you liked from a design standpoint, or what interested you in all having to do with the business of developing lingerie and the entire spectrum?
Yeah. So I came into lingerie in kind of a weird and roundabout way. The kind of full story is that when I was a younger woman, around 19, my mom got breast cancer. Spoiler alert, she's totally fine, breast cancer free for many years, so don't get too worried. But she started out with stage 4 breast cancer, and it was very scary. And I kind of rebelled against all things lingerie. Because I had somehow, I think as a kind of a kid, I felt like betrayed by my own womanhood, that breasts could all of a sudden hide this terrible secret. And so for about, I would say almost 5 years, I didn't wear a bra. I just bought like super basic panties, and I just kind of eschewed the whole thing. I just kind of threw it out the window. And then as I started to get into design and I started to get a little bit older, I realized, hey, I actually really like lingerie from a design perspective, and I started to want to wear it more. But having come from a place where I wasn't wearing it at all, I was no longer satisfied with the run-of-the-mill lingerie. It didn't fit my body well. It wasn't comfortable. And so I really started kind of pursuing designer lingerie for the first time because I was just unsatisfied with what I saw on the market. And simultaneously, I started going to design school and realizing that I really thought that lingerie was interesting from a design perspective. Now, I haven't done any serious designing or making of lingerie myself, though I have dabbled a little bit in designing, and it was really quite fun. And I would love at some point in my life to pursue it a little bit more. But that's kind of how I got into lingerie. It was kind of this two-pronged attack, one from the design perspective and one from the perspective that I was no longer satisfied or willing to wear lingerie that didn't fit me well.
And I think that that's probably a problem that many women have, no?
Yes, I fully agree. I think that a lot of women just wear one or two brands, and those one or two brands might not work for them or fit them very well. And so they spend the majority of their day uncomfortable in their underwear, which is just a horrible feeling, and one that I am usually not willing to have happen for myself. So I know, for instance, Chantel Thomas, which is a great brand, and a lot of women really love that brand. For me, the way the underwires are positioned, right between my breasts, it presses into me really hard, and I get like an actual indentation on my sternum if I wear that brand. I will never purchase that brand, but that brand might fit somebody else really, really well. It's just not a brand for me. And so it does take some time to figure out, what brands fit my body shape and also kind of appeal to my aesthetic. And I think one, people don't realize how many brands are out there, and so they don't necessarily do the research. And two, maybe they're just not interested in the research, and so they just, stop at kind of the big names. Maybe Agent Provocateur or Victoria's Secret in the US is really big, and it's just like, that's it. But for me, I wasn't satisfied with that.
Now, you're someone who I know for a fact loves kind of a throwback. You're a woman who is very much of today, but also is someone who would have been just as comfortable in the 40s and 50s because of your aesthetic. Where did that come from?
So I think there's a few things. It's kind of a multi-pronged approach again, but I think grew up with a love of that style because of my grandma. My grandmother was involved in a magic show. My great-grandfather was a magician, and the kind of showbiz and the outfits that went with it and the pictures that I got to see growing up and a little bit of the dress up that I played was very much of that era. Additionally, I didn't grow up with a television. I was kind of, my parents were hippies, and I had no television viewing station in my house at all. So no ability to see movies or anything. But when I would go to my grandma's house, we would watch old movies together. And so I really my introduction to glamour was not a modern day glamour. It was definitely an old glamour, was what my introduction to glamour was. And then as I grew older and started to become interested in burlesque in my late 20s, just thinking that it was, very interesting and fascinating, one of the people that I really fell in love with in the burlesque scene is Dita Von Teese, who of course has that really beautiful persona and style of kind of a bygone era as well. And so I think those kind of inform where I really kind of love that burlesque and kind of throwback feel. Now, that said, when I dress myself every day, I am a very, I do wear high-waisted jeans, but, I have a very light throwback to that era in my personal style, but it's something that I love a lot.
Oh, there you go. I mean, there's nothing wrong with, having a little bit of a secret thing that you like to get involved with. Tell you what, we've got a bunch of Instagram questions. You've got so many Instagram fans. So if you don't mind, let's check out some of your Instagram questions.
Absolutely.
All right. Now, you have a love for books and painting. Where'd that come from?
Yeah, so actually that really ties in nicely to what I was saying before about not having a television. So when I was growing up and I didn't really have any digital forms of entertainment at all, books was really where I found entertainment. And so I grew up as an avid reader, I was constantly walking around with a book. I was that cliche child that had a nose in a book at all times. I knew how to walk all around my campus without looking up from my book. It was kind of like my special superpower feat. And so that really kind of brought about my love of reading, and it's just continued to this day, where I really connect with books as a form of entertainment as opposed to television or movies. And then with painting, I've always just really enjoyed being creative, but I had not really settled on a form that I loved the most. But recently I decided, one of the problems with being a creative person, but also perhaps struggling a little bit with perfectionism, is that a lot of mediums, if you grasp them or start trying to go towards them, you realize you can work on the same project for your entire life and never be satisfied. For instance, oil painting. I mean, you could work on an oil painting for forever. And so I realized I needed a medium that made me stop and wouldn't let me fuss with it a lot. And so I tried watercolor for the first time. And that was really the first time I really identified and enjoyed painting. And I just started it at the beginning of this year. And I just really love it. And I've been trying to have a consistent painting practice as much as I can, though with work and everything else, it doesn't always work out that way. I do my best to try to be creative in some form most every day.
Well, let's look forward to that first showing that you have in a gallery in the Greater Bay Area.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, not bad, huh? All right, let's go to the next Instagram question. And that is there really a difference between, say, a 99-cent discount brand nylon and the $12 to $13 designer pair out of the retail store?
So I do think that there are tiers of stockings and nylons where they can kind of jump to a next level of quality. Unfortunately, I'm not intimate enough with pricing to know where that jump happens. And I think it's really brand based. So I am somebody, it's kind of funny because I'm not necessarily like a person who loves wearing things that have a brand on them. In fact, if it has a logo or a brand, I generally won't want to buy it. However, I definitely use brands as a way to determine quality. So if it's a brand that I know that has a lot of quality, I will continue to buy from it because I know that I can trust that quality. And so are there differences between brands, and are those differences oftentimes reflected in price? Yes. Is it always? Not necessarily. So where I personally seem to see the most difference is when I get up to like $20+ for a pair of stockings. I definitely see a difference in that tier. And then of course you can go all the way up to Wolford, and I've had a pair of Wolford stockings that I would wear, and I had them for a couple years and they never run. So I definitely see differences in tiers of prices, whether 99 cents versus maybe 10 to 13 bucks will get you much of a difference. I'm not sure that I would know.
Okay. Now you're a businesswoman. So this next question fits you perfectly. Can lingerie be worn beneath business attire? Yes, I am somebody who doesn't really like rules. So I think lingerie can be worn under whatever. In fact, my favorite is to wear some of my most beautiful lingerie under some of my grungiest clothes. I think it's hilarious. It's like my own little secret. I love it. And can it be worn under business attire? Absolutely. I think you have to take a little bit more care in picking out which lingerie that you are going to wear, because, if there's heavy boning in it or a lot of texture on the bra or the panty, then, and you're wearing, say, a thin silk shirt, it's going to show through, and you're going to have to decide whether or not you like that. Mm-hmm.
So you're going to have to make a conscious decision about it. But I have a lot of really beautiful sets, and I wear them on a daily basis. I'm not somebody who just wants to purchase lingerie and then put it in a drawer. That's not my style. I buy things specifically so that I can wear them, and I wear them under anything that I'm wearing.
Okay. Now, here's one that says, depending on what country you're from, panties are worn above or below pantyhose. Which is one is correct?
So that kind of, again, harkens to my I don't like rules.
Okay.
I think that it's really about the wearer's preference. I am not somebody who would dictate which way it should be worn, because it's really about what the wearer is comfortable with. And I don't personally feel like there is a correct or right way to do it. Personally, I prefer to wear panties underneath the stockings, because I feel like a lot of times the gussets in underwear are cotton and a little bit more body friendly. And so my preference is to have that kind of shield, I guess you could say, between myself and the nylon. But perhaps somebody else wears underwear that doesn't have that kind of body consciousness, and maybe the stocking has more of that for them. Great. Not a problem. I think either one is totally fine.
Fair enough. Okay. Now the team at Lingerie Lowdown have given us some fun things here. And I'm just going to ask you 3 or 4 questions real quick. And you give me a or B answer, okay? One or the other. Okay, you ready?
Uh-huh.
Tights or stockings?
Stockings.
Black or nude?
Oh, that's so hard. Black.
Okay.
Now I immediately want nude.
All right, that's fair enough. Sheer or opaque?
Sheer. I think I'm on the sheer spectrum.
Okay, Agent Provocateur or Victoria's Secret?
Oh, if I have to choose between those two, I would say Agent Provocateur.
Okay, summer, winter?
Oh, damn. Excuse me. I think I'm probably a summer girl, but in the Bay Area, there's not a lot of difference.
Right. You can say damn. That's all right. Don't worry. Okay. We're good with that. Swimsuit or bikini?
I'm mostly bikini.
Okay. Padded bra or not?
Oh, not padded, for sure.
Bra, bralette?
Ooh, depending on the bralette, I will go bralette any day, but with my cup size, usually I have to go bra.
Brief or thong?
Brief, usually.
Lace or floral?
Lace, all the way.
Silk or nylon?
A silk, 100% silk.
Okay, all right. So, what are some of the models who've inspired you?
Oh, that's a great question. And I'm not sure, do you think this is a Lingerie Lowdown model type of situation, or?
Yeah, it's whatever model
okay.
you like.
Yeah. So I have, I really love Dita Von Teese. I think she is just really inspiring in her dedication to her brand and style. I think that is very something that I probably wouldn't be able to do, but I do think it's really inspiring. And I have had a lot of really positive interactions with a lot of the Instagram lingerie community. For instance, Kitten LeBeau or Purple Hazy Girl are some of the bigger ones that are in Australia. But then there is like a few in the UK, let's see, she models for Wear Wicked, but I'm forgetting her Instagram handle right now. But they're just really lovely and have kind of embraced my lingerie account with open arms and really made me feel like part of the community right away, which I appreciated. And they have many more followers than me, and I feel like they are incredibly open and just welcoming. So those more Instagram-based models have also been incredibly inspiring for me. In terms of mainstream models, I haven't really followed any, so I wouldn't necessarily be able to give any additional insight into that.
Don't worry about that. I think you've done well under that situation. So are there, obviously you follow models on Instagram. Give me a couple of models that you think people should be following on Instagram.
So Kitten LeBeau is a great one. She'll help you plug into kind of the Australian Instagram model scene. Mm-hmm. And same with Purple Hazy Girl. She's great. Premium Honey is another really just lovely human. Mm-hmm. And I was lucky enough to meet her recently and just had a lovely time hanging out. And that's premium.honey is her handle. And then I wanted to look up the other one that I was talking about, because she is just really inspiring, and it's.
I'll tell you what. I'll ask you a question, and you can look her up while I ask the next question. While you can think about it. Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. Here's the question, and the question is: give me a few of your favorite items on Lingerie Lowdown that you have reviewed.
Ooh, that's a really good one. So I have really enjoyed some of the items that I have ended up purchasing for myself because of Instagram and then reviewing them on Lingerie Lowdown. And I've really loved having that opportunity to showcase kind of different and maybe more fringe or small designers. Mm-hmm. And I think a real standout for that would be Sophia Luzon. So I have, I think, reviewed one set from her so far, and we'll be reviewing another one from her. And I just think that she is a beautiful designer. And I've really, I was so happy that I found her on Instagram and was able to buy from her first collection. So that was really exciting. On that same token, I purchased a bra from Taryn Winters, who is another small designer out of Brooklyn. And she's getting larger, but she's still a one-woman show, which is just really an amazing feat. And that bra is like heaven. So I really enjoyed reviewing that. The materials that she chooses are just so stellar and so soft that it just is a real big standout. But then I've also been introduced to some brands from Lingerie Lowdown, which is really fun. So I know there's a lot of Ann Summers pieces. I have never purchased Ann Summers for myself, so I had only been introduced to the brand through Lingerie Lowdown, and that's always kind of fun. And same with Blue Bella. I've gotten some fun things from Blue Bella that I would have never necessarily purchased for myself, but was then able to try on and review, and that was really fun as well.
Cool. So did you find the Instagram account we were looking for before?
I think it's Wicked Jade. And
okay.
She does a lot of business attire with lingerie, and she has just such a fierce and amazing style that I would highly suggest finding her and following her as well.
Highly recommend. Okay, let's wrap things up, Mina, if you don't mind, with this. What are, and this is some advice from someone who understands the business. If you had to counsel someone on 4 items that they should have in their everyday, rotation or something that they need to do that you think they should have, what are 4 or 5 items that are must-haves?
In lingerie,
yes.
Specifically, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that having a really lovely but comfortable nude bra is really kind of a must-have. So this is something that should make you feel good when you wear it. So it should definitely be pretty. I'm a fan of always having your underthings be pretty on some level because I feel like it's just a great start to a day to know that you're wearing something beautiful. So it should be something that's really lovely, but it should also be something that you feel comfortable wearing under semi-sheer or very thin clothes that you know you can grab in an instant and wear it. So, for some people that might be padded. For me, it's not. It's more sheer or unpadded, unlined, but that's just personal preference. So a good nude bra and nude for whatever skin tone you are is really, I think, important. And with that, you should have a panty that matches. And if possible, having it be more seamless is great, because then you can put it on under any type of dress or wear it under any style of pant and it won't be seam. So something that doesn't cut into your skin or cut into kind of your smushy hip fits. We all have them. That is something that is really important. So I think that maybe counts as one, but potentially counts as two.
Okay.
For that.
1 and 1A. Yes.
Yep. So a set like that, I think, is really important. I think a set that basically makes you feel like you're on top of the world is another, I personally feel like, is a must-have. So this is a set that makes you feel like you can own anything. So when you are going into work and it's going to be a particularly bad day or a hard day, or you have a battle in front of you, that's the lingerie set that you grab for those situations, which is just kind of like your power lingerie. Like, nobody can mess with me when I'm wearing this because I know I'm in charge.
your Superwoman outfit.
Yes, basically, exactly. So I really feel like that is a must-have, because I think that there's something about the psychology of that that's really important for people, and for women especially, and especially if you're in a workplace environment where you kind of need all the help you can get, and that to me is a must-have. And then I really feel like having a pair of beautiful black stockings is just a great idea, because a lot of times you'll be dressing to go out, and we all tend towards black in general. And if it's colder, or, hey, let's be real, you didn't wax your legs perfectly, it's just wonderful to be able to throw on a pair of beautiful black stockings. They're going to make your legs look great. If you want to be a little bit lazy and just throw them on, that's perfect. You don't even have to paint your toenails. It's brilliant. So to me, a pair of black stockings, another must have. And then finally, I would say something that you feel really comfortable lounging around in at home. So whether this is like a beautiful robe, or maybe it's just like a shorts and tank top that's of silk that just makes you feel super happy at home. Or maybe it means that it's a bralette and panty set. Whatever it means to you, to have something that you can be at home with and wear that you think is pretty and comfortable and makes you feel cozy and happy, I would make that my fourth piece.
Absolutely fantastic. Mina, absolutely important that we get your Instagram and any other social media accounts that you want people to follow you on.
Oh yeah, thank you for that. So my Instagram handle is The Invisible Now, and there's underscores between the and invisible, and then again between invisible and now. And now is spelled N-A-O, so more like a name and not a time. So The Invisible Now is my lingerie Instagram handle. But I also have a painting account, and it's called Painting Now. Again, N-A-O and underscore between painting and now. So those are my two social media accounts. And then I have a website /blog, theinvisiblenow.com, no underscores. And when I can, I unfortunately do have kind of a crammed schedule, so I don't get to update it all the time. But when I can, I update that blog with both lingerie and book reviews. And eventually, as I expand my painting, there will be more prints and paintings that you might be able to pick up from me if you're interested through that website as well. So those are really where I kind of live online currently.
Special thanks to Mina Lee, our presenter. And we'll be back with more of Lingerie Lowdown right after this from BMW.
Life is about making decisions. At BMW i, we decided it was time to reinvent the car from the ground up, making sure we were open for truly innovative ideas. We decided that the car we wanted must be electric, and it should be made of extremely light and super strong carbon fiber. And finally, we decided to make it more intelligent and added our promise of incomparable driving pleasure. We made all these decisions to offer you a choice. The all-electric BMW i3.
Welcome back, everyone, to the podcast. Now, if you have not yet subscribed to the podcast, we certainly make it easy for you to do. You can find us as part of the Apple Podcast family. That's right. Go to iTunes and download us. You can go to Google Play because we're part of the Google Play podcast family. So you can find us there as well. Streaker, Stitcher, Spotify, YouTube, all of them have Lingerie Lowdown, the podcast. All right. So please go out there where you find your favorite podcasts and subscribe to us today. Okay. We got a lot of fun stuff coming up. Love to have you as part of our team. If you subscribe to us every 2 weeks, you're going to get a new edition of Lingerie Lowdown, the podcast, sent directly to your tablet, to your phone, or hopefully to both. Okay. So go out today and subscribe to Lingerie Lowdown. As I said before, we're part of the Apple Podcast family, part of the Google Podcast family, as well as Streaker, Stitcher, Spotify, TuneIn, and, of course, YouTube. So any one of those places, plus much, much more, you can find it. That's Lingerie Lowdown, the podcast. Subscribe today. All right. Okay. Special thanks to our special guest today. Of course, that's Scott W., the man behind Lingerie Lowdown, the podcast, and of course, Mina Lee, the wonderful California girl who is an outstanding presenter. Okay, so one last thing, okay, and it's a big one, so pay attention. LingerieLowdown.com, where you can see all these presenters and hear their wonderful reviews. We have a deal for you. If you've not yet become a member of the website, first of all, shame on you. Second of all, we're going to give you a deal. And here's the deal. You get 10% off a 6 or a 12-month membership plan, okay? That's 10% off a 6 or 12-month membership plan. All you have to do is enter the promo code PODMINA, okay? That's PODMINA, PODMINA. Enter that code and you get 10% off when you decide to join for 6 or 12 months. And that, my friends, is a very, very good deal. So please go out there today, join Lingerie Lowdown at LingerieLowdown.com. Choose either a 6 or 12-month plan. Get 10% off by simply entering the podcast code PODMINA. Please do that today. Okay? All right. Well, thanks for joining us on this, our first edition of Lingerie Lowdown, the podcast. I'm Jim Williams. For the entire team at Lingerie Lowdown, we thank you very much for enjoying this show and hope you join us next time as we bring you the latest in everything having to do with lingerie right here on Lingerie Lowdown, the podcast. Have a wonderful and safe holiday season. See you in a couple of weeks.